But at this moment, I'd like to start off by introducing our most improved player on the varsity roster. This player, it is his second year as a varsity player, and coming in his freshman year, already had a huge impact. We had a very demanding schedule last year, very high expectations of all of our freshmen, and they were kind of thrown into the fire and forced to go up against the best, people bigger, stronger, faster, more experienced with them, and they never backed down. This player in particular has come back and has been a huge component in our team, on our team, and the reason for that is his selflessness. He's a very balanced player, looking at him statistically, but his flow of the game is very fluid. He's not forcing shots, he's not looking to be greedy. He is a playmaker in all senses, where he reads the rest of his teammates and plays to their ability or facilitates to their abilities. At this time, can I have Cameron Frazier come up to the podium?
Comb your hair.
Mr. Frazier is not only improving in the water, but he's also improving in the banquet. We have a collared shirt that is tucked in. He has slacks. I'm hoping that my senior year will have belt and a tie and combed hair. But progress, Mom. He does have Space Invaders socks. Cameron was our second leading goal scorer on the team with 38 goals in the season, accompanied by 28 assists, where he led the team. Actually, I'm sorry, was because Kylie Marquez also shared 26 assists, which is impressive, but also 41 steals. So once again, very well-rounded player. It's also noteworthy that we recently had our All-Valley and All-Track nominations as coaches. Cameron received an honorable mention for both All-Valley and All-Track, which is extremely impressive as a sophomore. So once again, Cameron, thank you very much for your time.
All right, Cam!
Up next, we have our offensive MVP. Our offensive MVP led in total goals scored with 48 on the season, led in ejections drawn, and unfortunately I don't have those numbers in front of me here. Also totaled 36 steals and 14 assists. Without him, we would have a different team. Essentially because in the very beginning of the season, we were very dependent on our 2-meter players. And this was something that continued on throughout the year. And while we fluctuated a little bit, experimented with different formations, and ended up having to go away into something completely different towards the end, he was very flexible in it. And being able to be put into a position and still have success, still be selfless, and still go out and compete. He had some of his best games against the toughest opponents, including Buchanan and Clovis. And he was a huge momentum player with his strong side turn, being able to finish close to the goal. So at this time, Eddie Gerardo. One thing that was a lot of fun watching Eddie play is, I mentioned it again in the beginning, but his turn. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, it's like a spin move, but a power move. It's the equivalent of a slam dunk in basketball. It's something that gets people jumping off the bench and really fun and exciting. That's Eddie's move. That is his only move. But if it's not broke, Don't fix it, okay? And I'm sorry if your only move is a power move that gets people going crazy, I'll take that. Some very impressive things is just going back. I know we had a lot of rough games, tough losses, and close games, but there were some phenomenal plays going back, looking at the replays going into tonight. And one of my favorites is Clovis High, the second time we played them. Came out pretty flat, and we just needed something, some sort of momentum, some sort of pulse to get us going again. And it just so happened that that came in the form of a last-second goal where the ball was set with 3 seconds, turned his player, and as the ball is released from his fingertips, clock expires, goal. And it was huge. It gave us the momentum to come out strong off the sprint in the next quarter and really kept us competing towards the end of the game. And Eddie is a huge competitor. He pushes his teammates to the limits to make sure that they are performing at the best of their ability. It is not always easy, but it's very honest. Without that, we would not be where we are today. While we are enjoying the process and the fun things that come with it, there are a lot of hardships and difficulties that come with it too. And as far as the saltiness goes, as I referred to earlier, Eddie and I are a little bit on the same page, and I see a lot of my mentality and competitiveness as a player in him. And I'm extremely grateful to have him for another year and to look forward to what we have in the off season, and especially for that strong senior class that Nick and Trevor already alluded to. So thank you again, Eddie. And up next, our defensive MVP. We actually had a lot of candidates for this position because we have 2 stellar 2-meter defenders in Kylan Marquez and Nick Clausen. And we also have an outstanding goalie in Ashton. And when I came down to who the defensive MVP was, it was a question of who could we not do without. It was a bit challenging, it was a bit difficult. And it took me a comparison of last year and this year to finally come to a conclusion. Now, in my reasoning, I realized that, I'll go ahead and jump to the spoiler alert, that Ashton was the backbone for us on defense. Last year he was a bit quiet. He was finding his place. He was thrown into a tough position, going to the starting varsity goalie position after Jimmy left. Apologize, so Jimmy was a senior before him, so he came in his sophomore year, a bit inexperienced, and once again got thrown to the wolves. Okay, and I was hounding him. I was one of those wolves. And it continued again and again and again, but he didn't shut down. Continued to do his off-season polo. Excelled in Royal Water Polo, had some outstanding clutch saves, game-winning saves. 5-meter penalty shot blocks that still are bragged about today. As fingers are pointed across, like, yeah, I remember that. But that all transitioned into this season, and the thing that I'm most impressed about on the defensive end was his communication, how vocal he was. He took ownership for our defense, and sometimes it was unfair, it was unjustified, when he's going up against 2 or 3 unguarded players. But that was never an excuse. Still, nonetheless, he'd be going underwater, shouting God knows what, but coming up, still looking like he had a few more things to say. Always had to reassure him, hey, that's not on you. And then when it was on him, let him know, and he bounced right back. There was multiple times this season where we were coming out flat, once again, in the first half, and a part of that was on him. But he acknowledged it, he took ownership, and then he'd go from having 2 saves in the first half to having 10 in the second. He was a key component in our Central win, in overtime. He turned it on after a rough start and ended up sealing the game out, keeping us, well, shutting Central out in overtime both quarters. Okay, so at this time, Ashton, can I have you come up to the stage? And was it 27th, 24th overall? Was that off Max Preps? Well, I didn't dig that deep into Max Preps in preparation, but just based on our statistics, Ashton had 204 saves on the season, which is outstanding. He is just shy of the not all-time, but season career blocks. And I believe that after his performance this year, he is more than capable to go out and to reach that goal and exceed it next year. And just like all my other juniors, all my other sophomores, and all my other freshmen, I cannot wait to see you guys next year. It is going to be a lot of fun. But Ashton, I want to thank you for the journey and thank you for your patience and your flexibility and your understanding and putting your head underwater when there's something that you want to say to me, but you don't. I appreciate that because I know you're not alone. You're gonna call me out.
Good boy, Ashton!